Hello everyone, welcome to another weekly race guide. This is week number 40. We're flying through these this year and an interesting week, I've got to say. First up, we have Willow Springs here. Let's have a look at the race details first of all. We have 5 laps in length here at Willow Springs. It's a grid start, but it's no penalty check as always with race A. Sports hard tyres, no fuel, no tyres, and fixed setup. Nice and easy to understand, nice and easy to get going with. Now we are of course in the GT86 or BRZ. They're essentially the same car. They're made in the same way, it's the same chassis, etc. Just little tweaks to both of them. But the GT86 appears to be the more dominant car, the more prominent car being used. So that is the car I would pick as well. And that's the one I picked for this race. Now let's jump to the race. I'll talk you through some tips, tricks, my trip to Narnia, and also a brief lap guide. Here we are then at the start, and you can see the grid right in front of you. We have one BRZ, while the rest are Toyota GT86s, or 86 GT. I don't know why it's called that in the game. It seems a bit weird to me. But anyway, we're burning irrelevant fuel because there's no fuel. Remember, traction control on 1 for these grid starts for most cars. That's what we do here. And nice and easy getaway there. Switch it to 0 just before you change gear. There is no disadvantage to using it then at all. It's going to head towards turn 1. Obviously, it's grid start. It's not rolling start, Tidge. It's a grid start. You expect people to get close up ahead. There's a little bit of closeness there. But in the grand scheme of it, everyone is sort of line astern. Nice and easy. Turn 1. We're going to head around turn 2 now. A track guide is coming up in a little bit. Just trying to get past the Spaniard here of Luigi's cousin, I think. Luigi. A Spaniard as well, rather than Italian. Anyway, 3, we carry on, heading towards left-hander. Someone has already gone to Narnia there, up ahead, and come back on the circuit. So I see that, and that's why I brake early here, because I'm aware that carnage is about to ensue. So I go, oh, look, a gap, a gap, a gap, a gap. Oh. That gap suddenly disappears, so I tap Louis, just back out of it there, make sure he doesn't lose any time, and then we continue on with the race. Now, gear shifting is a big thing here, so just be careful of that. As you see now, we are crossing the lap here, we advance a bit further ahead, and we're going to go on to turn number 1. You can see it's getting very close ahead. Someone's gone very deep there in the dark blue machine. Off to Narnia, there you go. And then this very strange thing happened on this right-hand as I went for this move. Very odd, isn't it? I don't understand that. So I had perfect 5 bars, went to 3, and then I'm back to 5. Fortunately, I didn't wipe anybody out with that. We carry on as normal. I've had a few tech issues lately, aren't I? Lots of carnage still going on ahead. Well, clean carnage, you know. We can have clean carnage, and this race is actually really fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed this race, actually. As you see, I go around the outside of Luigi's cousin there, and I try and go down the inside of Malhindi, but not going to quite work there. I have to back out of that. And we go at one place at least. Very hard to overtake at Willow Springs, of course, because it's lots of fast bits, lots of sweeping corners. We're after those hard braking zones. But around the outside on Luigi's cousin was happy days, to be honest. So, Narnia trips are common on this corner, of course. As you're about to see Malhindi go off to Narnia there. So close at making it, but not quite. As we now continue on to a lap guide, because I know you all actually want the lap guide and not my constant talking and yapping here. So we head towards turn 1. On the left hand side there, you're going to see the TV stand there. Now, the closer you get to that in braking, the more you're going to have to really chuck it in. I'm braking a little bit early here because I was just aware of slipstream a little bit, but on the following laps I do brake closer to that. That's your target reference points. When I talk about target reference points, by the way, you've just got to judge it accordingly for yourself. Some people are better at braking than others. Your brake balance may change. If you're wondering about brake balances on any of these combos, always check the description. I always lob them in there, even if I forget to mention them. So coming through this right-hander, it's just literally a lift, and then at constant speed through the corner. Lift off if you need to, if you're running a bit of understeer there. And then as we head towards this left-hander, the 50 board or the cones, whichever one you want to use. There's also that plant next to the 50 that I occasionally use if the 50 board disappears to somewhere. So, you know, you can use those to your advantage. I would use the cones here at Willow Springs as we then go on the inside or outside of Stefan here, side by side with Stefan. Now, that curb there on this right-hander, I use that as a reference as where I'm potentially need to brake. Now, obviously, I'm on the outside here, so it's very hard to see. But generally, I'm judging my speed based on that. And in this car, I'm generally just lifting rather than braking and then turning through the corner. I'm trying to stay in as high a gear as possible because I don't want the gear shift delay. heading towards this left-hander, I always cut the tyres on the inside slightly, and then I use the end of the curb as a reference. So when I get to the end of that curb, obviously the tyres can then come back on circuit, and I'm chucking the car in then, as you see here. Clip that curb, round I go, and maintain that speed. Be careful what Stefan does here, run slightly wide there. So then I'm going to try and go on the inside. Because of the way that hill is, the crest of the hill, if you run too deep on the left, you're going to run wide on the right. So obviously that allows somebody, like myself, to get on the inside. And you really want to be on the inside for this last corner. Obviously we're accelerating around now. You're looking for a reference marker. I know you are. The reference here is the 150 meter board. A very nice board. And then you're going to just dab the brakes and slowly trail brake. You don't want to slam on. If you slam on, you're going to understeer off. So you want to trail brake the car here. Notice how I just dabbed the brake there, dab the brake again. You're sort of just making sure you maintain the speed here. And I got it slightly wrong, as you can see, because I was on the inside. I didn't have the most optimum line there. So I nearly ran wide. But if you do it perfectly, you'll be in 5th gear, not 4th. So just keep that in mind as well. Headed towards turn 1 then, you see a lot of carnage still going on ahead in terms of racing action. It's not actual carnage, which is great to see. I'll say this is a fun race, actually. A really fun race. Well, it was a fun race for me. But you'll see what happens later on as we're going to speed this up. Catch up to Svetlio here. Nice to race Svetlio. See him in chat very often on the streams. So coming through this right-hander here, we're going to get very close. Now, I did think about going for it, but then I just backed out of it there, get very close to the rear end there, and then we're going to just chuck it into the left. So obviously I'm just looking for an opportunity here. And I was thinking about the same move again here, but Svetlio didn't run deep this time, so he's going to stay on the inside here. You see how the car wants to drift out. So Svetlio goes to the right-hand side. So I'm going to go towards the left, of course. Very dangerous place to be here. Don't put yourself in this situation because of what is about to happen to me. So we'll continue on through here. Svetlio, superb effort, superb defending here from Svetlio. In towards braking zone, as I say. So Svetlio is trying all sorts there to avoid me. You see Luigi's cousin going down the inside, runs too deep, just hits me off into the gravel, and yeah, there's my Narnia invitation now. Off to Narnia I went, and that was the end of the race. Effectively for me, but as I say, it's quite an enjoyable race, this one. You know, try it out. You can have some good clean racing. You've seen a lot of clean racing in there. Just a mistake from Luigi's cousin that cost me you know, a good overall race, but even so, that was alright. Let's head to race B then, and let's have a look at what we're doing there in race B. Welcome to Suzuka then, and we are in Group 4. But don't worry, don't fret. I don't think it's just an FF race, but we'll look at that in a second. Now, let's have a look at the race details first of all. And yes, you are reading that right. It is 3 laps only. So weirdly, and for reasons unknown to science, we are having a shorter race than race A. I don't know why. This should be 5 laps at least. It's literally like a 6-minute race where the other one's longer. But anyway, it's a rolling start. We're on racing hard tyres. No fuel, no tyre. Fixed setup. Group 4. So yes, FFs are going to be strong here. But when I actually looked at the leaderboards, I was in a Corvette. Well, the Corvette was ranked number 2, so I jumped in the Corvette, and I thought, let's give that a blast round Suzuka. Now, this race is going to be entertaining, and I do actually send somebody to Narnia here. So sit back, relax, enjoy the guide as well, and yeah, this is going to get a little bit interesting. Here we are then, and yes, there's an RTZ on pole. It was obviously the fastest car on the leaderboard at the time, but as you can see, there's a few other cars in there. There's the Ferrari, there's me and the Corvette. We have a GAN Trophy, which is a complete opposite of the front-wheel drive cars, as in it's so slow on the straight lines, but, you know, I don't think it's a pure FF race. I could be wrong. Obviously, it's Monday, you know, by Friday, it could be pure FFs dominating everything, but you got to remember, hard tyre, there's some slow corners on this circuit. They're going to struggle in acceleration zones at FF cars. This is maybe where, you know, cars like the Corvette may become prominent. But let's see, let's see. Anyway, obviously, if you're starting near the back, you're starting at the chicane, so just be careful of that one. As we continue on, you short shift this Corvette, of course. I'm going to go straight to a lap guide because it's a rolling start. We're not really close to the racing action. I can actually give you some actual information that you are after from this video. So heading towards turn 1. As always with Suzuka turn 1, I'm using that left-hand side tarmac basically. That's my judge. So depending on which Group 4 car you're in, you'll brake at it, just before it, and obviously depending on brake balance as well. So just be careful of that. You're going to trail brake through the right-hander, get towards the second part. I've just ran a bit deep here, but on future laps I'll be much closer to the apex. And then into towards the S's here. Now, this is all about just balancing the car. So I have an occasional dab of the brake here, but you can see how we're catching very quickly here. Literally, you're just trying to maintain as much speed as possible and go through the corner. The less you brake, the better you're doing it. Okay. Heading towards this left now. Just be careful here about running wide. You can see there a couple of them run very wide. The Megane Trophy gets extremely close to running wide there. But it's all about maintaining speed there. I'm not going to go for the move here. And then as we head towards Tidgney 1, it's a 50-meter board I'm looking for in Group 4. Just dabbing the brakes, trying to cut it a little bit, you know, make sure I don't run too wide here, which you'll see later actually, weirdly, not from me though. So you can see there, I'm just having to slow down a lot there because of the Megane. And then you're going to use the end of the curb there. Don't use it purely for your brake reference, because if you just brake in a straight line there, you're going to hit the gravel and spin off. Just be careful that at Tidgney 2. You can see I'm just turning just before it ends there. Be careful of that AstroTurf on the exit. It is quite deadly. As we head towards the hairpin, I look on the left there, but on the right side, where you would normally be, where the Megane is, the end of the curb is a very good marker for your braking, so make sure you use that one. Happy days in towards the braking zone. You want to keep it tight here as well. The Megane gave me a little bit of room there, so fair play to him, but or her. But I didn't take it. I didn't want to run the risk. As now we continue on towards Spoon. So we're obviously going to catch this Megane Trophy fairly quickly at this point, because long acceleration period, the car is as slow as anything. So we're going to go for the move here. I wouldn't normally do this because of the penalty, but I am in this situation. Tarmac on the right for Spoon, a very nice brake marker, my usual brake marker, one you should use as well. Nice and easy stuff. You know, it's my go-to brake marker for Spoon. So down the inside here, a bit of clean racing there with the Finnish driver. Happy days. And then your next brake marker for the second part of Spoon, end of the curb. I use curbs all the time because obviously if you're using the limits of the track, they're obviously in your direct vision. They're not in front of you, so you know they're very good markers. Obviously they're not good if there's a car directly there, so you just have to be careful of that. Continue out of Spoon then, nice and happy days, and I don't know, that doesn't even make sense. I don't know why I just said that. Anyway, continue towards 130R. Now, you don't have to brake for this. Some cars will just be a lift. I brake too much here, but I'm using the 50-meter board as a bit of a reference. At that point, I want to really be chucking it in. You can even clip the grass on the inside. It helps you get round a little bit. But I brake and then, yeah, I do a second brake. I didn't need to. Look at all that track I could have used there. Just be careful of the AstroTurf on the exit. And then in towards the Casio Triangle. The yellow line marks the old pit lane, I think, or something like that anyway. But the yellow line there, that's what I use as a reference, and I brake quite early in this Corvette, heading towards this one, as we catch up to Hubler in the Ferrari. So, through there we go. Let's see what we can do here then. So, we're in slipstream. I don't think Hubler is. Now, if you are going to go side by side into turn 1, it's only a 3-lap race. So it can get very, 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 very sketchy if you're on the outside. So one thing I'd recommend if you are on the outside, do exactly what Hubler does there. Just back out of it. It's a 3-lap race. You run slightly wide there, you're coming in last. You know, you can back out of it. You potentially then have another opportunity to re-overtake them further down the line. As you can see, a bit of carnage going on up ahead. One of the RCZs went off, came back on, hit the NSX. All happy, well, not happy days actually, is it? Because the RCZ's about to go off rally crossing there. So we get another position. That is happy days. We'll get it out eventually. Anyway, we continue on now. So obviously they're going to take a penalty. And this is where the fun begins now. So we have the RCT up ahead. Ferrari looking for a way past. 130R, very sketchy corner to go for a move. I don't think the Ferrari driver would have gone for it anyway, but now he goes side by side. In towards the left we go. Fine and dandy there. He comes across, hits the Ferrari. That made him unstable. And then comes across me there, so I'm trying to just back out of this now. So he goes deep. But then watch this again. He keeps turning into the Ferrari for reasons unknown to science. So at this point I'm like, okay, you're purposely trying to take people out here, mate. So we continue on. And then, yeah, check this out. So I go towards the right. He goes towards the right. So okay, I'll go towards the left. He goes towards the left, so I go towards the right. He goes towards the right. I'm just like, you can't do that. That is not clean racing. You can't do that. You can't keep weaving. Unbelievably stupid driving. At this point, he's on 2 strikes, by the way. You know my rule, 3 strikes and you're out. There's the Audi TT on the outside of turn 1. Very sketchy to be. So as I say, I recommend not doing that. So yeah, he's on 2 strikes at the moment. Arguably, it should be 3 really, because he cut across me. He's then hit the Ferrari, and then he's weaved. But I'll call it 2, and I did call it 2 at the time. It's why I'm sticking behind him for now. But trust me, Narnia is it's in the envelope. It's on its way to this person at the moment. Not quite arrived. But as we continue through here, obviously they went a bit tight here, so I think, okay, I'll go on the outside. Watch them! He just straightens up and tries to push me off. So at this point, I'm like, oh, you've had it, son. You have had it, son. 3 strikes and you're out. I've always had that rule. What a moron. The Ferrari driver, by the way, cracking race there. Cracking effort at Tidgney 1, actually. Fair play for that one. Here we go. Narnia is coming. You can see it in the distance. Narnia's coming. See you later, mate. Happy days. Yeah, that's just stupid driving. And it got me a dirty driver after. I'm like, you're having a laugh, son. Anyway, check this out. This is even more hilarious with what happens to him. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, sounds right. He gets a reset on top of it, so he finishes stone dead last. Pure karma. Thank you, karma. I love you, karma. Happy days. But that's race B for you if you want to take part in that one. A little bit chaotic in places, but you should have a good race here. Let's jump to race C now, and let's have a look at that. Welcome to Spa then, and Group 2 actually, so effectively Super GT at Spa, something you don't see every day. And let's have a look at the race details first of all. It's 9 laps in length. It's a grid start with the false start check, so this gets pretty chaotic. Trust me, you'll see in a second. Tyres were on racing mediums and racing hard, and both are required in this one, so just be careful for that. Fuel usage is ×2 and tyre wear is ×8. So, both tyre compounds, a grid start with the check, 9 laps, Group 2, which is a bit chaotic anyway. What could possibly go wrong with this one? Well, let's find out. Let's jump to that race right now. Here we are then at the start, and the GTR, of course, in Group 2 is the most popular, the 16 car there. We do have an 08 NSX, and we do have a Lexus in there as well, but it's mainly the GTR here. As you can hear, we are burning that fuel. Please do that at the start, it will help you. Traction control on 1, of course. I'm starting on the hard tyre here. We'll talk about strategies in just a second as we get ready to go. And off we go. Now, Spa, turn 1, the source is tight. Let's be honest here. You're going to have to brake extremely early here as somebody jumped the start there. And, I mean, I brake early here. Look at how slow I'm going to end up going here. The Constantina effect having an impact here. Just keep it tight here myself. Accelerate out that corner. And we have... did we get in position there? I'm not actually sure. But I noticed the Spaniards on the left come across, so I did back out of that because I didn't want to be involved in that. Obviously, it's still going to be some side-by-side moments going up. Orujan Radion, and the Spaniard runs wide here, so I'm going to just end up going off here. Another guy comes across there, turns into me. Oh, all sorts of carnage. Oh, the pit's gone! And well, we're gaining places here, and another person with a huge penalty there, Pablito. Half a second of penalties. I'm actually pleased with that in the grand scheme of it, because that was pure carnage. And I believe there's been a lot of carnage throughout the day. I saw a tiny bit of Syka's tweet, which is one of his races here. He had carnage here. He had carnage at the comb rather than the source. Or Orujan Radion. And yeah, there's just pure carnage. Because what you have really, essentially, is you've got 2 tyre compounds, plus the grid start, plus penalties, plus heat in the tyres being a problem, plus driver skill level, all that combined gives you this potion of carnage and chaos. It is absolutely mental, this. As you see, the NSX is struggling up ahead. It's got a green GTR, I think, behind it. So, you know, we have a huge train of cars here. And I say I was pretty happy in the grand scheme of it with that half second. I looked down the inside here. I'm not sure what was going on with these two, the Italian and the German. They seem to keep hitting each other quite a bit. I got very well aware of it very quickly. They both got a penalty for it, though. So, you know, whatever the game decides, I don't know. A good move here by Senina. Sorry about that, mate. But a brilliant move there. Very opportunistic. Well played with that one as we continue on now. So I don't know who's on hard and who's on mediums here. So let's talk about the strategy just briefly here. Now, in terms of strategy... Oh, let's not actually. I know what's about to happen. So through the left hand, there we go. Someone's binned it at Blanchimon. I'm going to head towards down the last corner here. And I'm going to outbrake myself. So I go towards the left. I avoid everybody here. That's what you should do. Now, obviously, I can't go all the way around. It'll just reset me. So I keep it very tight here. Notice how slow I go. Avoid everybody. Everybody's aware of what I'm doing. And then we accelerate out. Right, strategies. Personally, or the standard strategy I imagine for most people will be 3 laps on hard and then the rest on medium, so 3 and 6 or 6 and 3, whichever way you want to do it, wherever you start on the grid. You can do 2 and 7 and 7 and 2, but that gets a bit more tricky. 2 and 7 is going to be far easiest. That's 2 on hard. Oh, a lovely move there by Samoa Alvarez. Obviously they were having issues with the Italian earlier on, but a lovely move there all the same. We just fast forward. Can you do 1 lap hard? I don't know, and the rest medium? It'd be tricky. Maybe, and I did think about this, it's worthwhile if you're doing a last to first challenge to do the 1 lap on hard, come into the pits, and then just do another stop on mediums. So we'll have a look at the pit stop time, but I think from memory it was 6 seconds, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of it, especially if you've got a lot of grip. You'll be able to fly past the hard runners. And as you can see here, I'm stuck in this annoying battle, which is losing me so much time. So it's worthwhile, me personally, coming at the end of lap 1, in this race in particular, going on the mediums and potentially pitting again. Because I was stuck, I lost so much time in this battle with these drivers because they were fighting on every corner, etc. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. Oh yeah, somebody gets reset and another one is in the wall. There was carnage throughout this race. But we go for the move on the Spaniard here. So they're in the slipstream annoyingly and I don't have it. So what I do here is a little bit of a dummy. I'm not going to go for this move, but I show him my nose because I know he's going to try and outbrake me, which he does. He's then going to come back on a circuit. I did worry that I'd get punted off there, but he kept it safe, you know, he just drifted on slightly. So we get that position, and the fin goes off to Narnia. Again, that's twice we've seen that finish driver go to Narnia. Obviously, likes it there. A lot of people like it there this week for reasons unknown. Maybe it's having a heat wave or something, I don't know. It's usually snowing there, so maybe they want to build a snowman. That could be the reason. Anyway, into the pits we're about to go. Lap 3, as I say, 3-9-3-6-6-3 is the standard strategy here. As we chuck on the old medium tyres. I'll go for a pit stop like the Red Bull team. And then, as you can see, straight out again. So this cost me 6 seconds-ish. So take that as it is. So if you want to try a 2-stop, but just to get out of the carnage, it's maybe worthwhile. Especially if you're trying to get your safety rating up. You know, hard once and then come in and then go in the mediums and then the mediums again. Maybe worthwhile doing. Maybe you're out front and you just want to just slam in some faster slaps and go on the hards on the last lap. You could do that as well. But as I say, just be a bit cautious with that strategy. Lots of strategy available. Lake Home. Let's call it Lake Home because it is Lake Home. You use the curb here at Lake Home. You don't have to brake for Origin Radion, which is why we are in this track guide at Lake Home. So use the curb there. Drop to 3rd gear. You want to kind of tuck your wheel on the curb a little bit there, and you want to tuck it left here as fast as possible to give you a lovely line for this right-hander. This is all about maintaining speed through there. You can use a lot of the curb there on the exit. As we head down towards the right-hander now. Again, you're using the curb. The curb is a lovely, lovely guide here. Literally, as you get to it, you start braking. You can see I'm on 100% brake, or nearly 100% brake there. And I'm going to drop down to 2nd gear. Now, what you want to do at the exit of the corner is actually short shift to 3rd. It'll just stop a little bit of oversteer. It's very worthwhile doing, and you'll want to save your tyres. The flag marker indicator, which is giving me the blue flag for I don't know what reason. Use that as your marker for just a little bit of a dab of the brake and chuck it in. 3rd gear, click the curb, and then accelerate out the corner. You can use a bit more of the curb there on the exit, just be careful about oversteer. So we head down towards Puon now, and again, usual one here, the flag marker again. Nice and easy, a little bit of a dab of the brake. We're going to drop to 4th gear. Don't mount the curb on the left, that is a big no-no, and try and avoid running too wide on the right as well, because you will see something that happens with that later on. But it's very slippery, let's put it that way. We continue out of there now, and we head towards the right-hander here, and we're going to use the bridge there. The bridge is a nice, lovely marker. Use the shadow if you want instead. You also got the curb if you're one of the ultimate late breakers and you want to use the curb, but I'm using the little banner there. 3rd gear, keep it tight for this one, and then it allows you to have a good line for this left. You see how much we catch up to this finish driver, who we're behind again. How have you binned it twice and we're still behind the guy? I don't know. Anyway, the curb is your marker for this right-hander. You potentially want to drop to 2nd gear here just to make sure you get the rotation round and, you know, the car stops understeering a little bit. Obviously, you'll have an engine brake in there. You see a drop to 2nd gear. And obviously, I'm looking for a move at this point. Now, this corner, mainly flat out. I lift a little bit here because I get it slightly wrong. But definitely flat out on mediums, hard tyres, a little bit more sketchy. Just be wary of that. Especially as you get to the tyres that get more worn, you may have to lift a little bit more, and obviously dirty air in these Group 2 cars as they have huge downforce. In towards Blanchimont, happy days, no problem there. On the hard tyres, you may need a slight lift. Heading towards the chicane, of course, on the left-hand side, there's like a reflection on the bar there. That's what I use. The cones are very helpful here as well. You've also got the brake marker. There's loads of markers for the chicane. Just make sure you stop in time, unlike I did on the first lap. Anyway, we go for the move there. Job done. Happy days. And we're behind the Spaniard again. Honestly, I lost so much time at fighting the Spaniard here, and obviously the German driver as well, Simoa Alvarez. Apologies if I got your name wrong there. So much time lost. Anyway, I'm looking down here in towards turn 1. I go for a bit of a lunge here. But then he turns in really early, and I didn't quite get it personally, but yeah, whatever. We're still going to get the position here, so we'll take that. turned in really early. I don't know. Anyway, we continue on. I made the apex. Anyway, so continue on. We're behind Sandro, who's had a penalty there. I'm not sure whether that was entering the pits or not. But we're going to get a good run on the modern NSX. I didn't even spot that on the grid. There we go. Round we go. Up into P14. And we're going to have some absolute quality moves coming up, folks. If you want to see some good moves, stay tuned, sit in that chair and watch this, because it's about to get fun. You see Pablito up ahead here in the Lexus. As through there we go. We saw Pablito. I think Pablito was one of the ones that had a huge penalty earlier on. Anyway, in towards the right we go. And I can tell at this point they're on hard tyres, by the way, so I knew exactly what I was going to plan. I couldn't stay behind Pablito for too long because, obviously, on the harder tyres, he's going to go much slower than me through Puan. So I'm going, let's go for the ultimate risk here and round the outside at Puan, which somehow we do. So shout out to Pablito for having some clean racing as well there. I don't know how we managed it, but we did. Happy days. Up, Rouge and ready on then. And you see Senina, just get it wrong there, mounting the curve on the inside. Try avoid doing that. Try and cut more of the left before you get into the right. That will help you out. And it's essentially flat out then. We get that move done then. Up into P number 12 as we head towards the old NSX now, which is a good looking car. It's just not a very good car in general at the moment, is it really? So in towards the right we go. We're going to have some good action here with Goodwood here as well. So shout out to Goodwood in advance for this, because this is brilliant stuff. In towards the right-hander. Gives me just enough room. I give Goodwood enough room there as well. Going to accelerate out the corner here. Look at this side-by-side action. And yes, round the outside of that left-hander. You do not see that very often. So a shout-out to Goodwood as well. So we've had some fantastic racing, to be honest with you. You know, real big shout-out. Now, check this out. Up ahead, the Polish driver just goes on the outside, and I follow him. He bins it. I fortunately catch it, so I go up another place. Happy days with that one. But just be careful about running too wide at Puan. That is what I was talking about with that. As now we continue on through the right and the left. So, summary for this race then, because not much more is about to happen. We're about to advance towards the end. Strategy, there is some there. You know, you can pick and choose which lap you want to pick, really, to try and break away from the traffic if you want. Obviously, towards the front, it's going to become more standard, but obviously, mid-pack and towards the rear, pick and choose. As I say, I'd be very tempted to pit on lap 1 and maybe do a 2-stop just for a bit of fun. Otherwise, a 1-stop, maybe lap 2, more than likely lap 3, but even so, this lap was quite quick as well, to be honest with you, my final lap. So lap 2 is a possibility here. Just look after your tyres a little bit. Brake balance is all in the description if you want to check that out with what I used. But that's going to be it for me this week. So lots of Narnia visits there for a lot of people, as we just see another one as we cross the line. Congratulations to Aganator. Shout out to Pablito and Goodwood there for some fantastic side-by-side action. But that's it for this week's weekly race guide. And here he is going to be streaming it later on tonight, 8:30 or 9, or somewhere around there. There's a link there if you want to check that out. But that's going to be it for me, folks. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video or live stream very soon.